Welcome to The Inside Source, the podcast that is everything sports marketing. From agents and athletes to large and small brands, we are your number one source for inspiration on how to work with athletes.
My boy Aaron Murray, what's up, stud? How are you?
What's up, man? How you doing today?
All good. Ready to talk some NIL with you. Ready to talk some Dogs football. A lot going on in the world of Georgia. And I needed you, my co-host on Punt and Pass, one of my close friends, to jump on here and talk about everything with me. So let's kick this thing off. This is Inside Source Live. I'm your host, Drew Butler, joined today by a dear friend of mine, an absolute legend in college football. That, of course, is Aaron Murray, former Georgia quarterback, SEC's all-time leader in passing yards and touchdowns. Tim Tebow, get out of here. Johnny Manziel, no. My boy Aaron Murray is number one. So, Aaron, I know a lot about your background. I know a lot of our listeners on Punt and Pass do as well. You're with CBS Sports right now doing awesome work. You're also with SiriusXM Radio doing awesome work. You really have your ear to the ground in college football, and you are extremely knowledgeable about the rule changes coming down the pipeline for name, image, and likeness compensation for student athletes, especially in the 5 states that go live July 1st. You and I are both in the state of Georgia, so Georgia student athletes will be able to be compensated as well. We'll touch on that in a bit, but let's get a little bit of background on yourself. What are you up to, man? Where are you from? What got you to Georgia? Let's just have an all-encompassing conversation to have some fun here.
First off, big shout out to Coach Puck Dog. I see a little plant action in the comments.
There you go.
So got to throw him out a little love. My former coach down there in Tampa. I'm from Tampa, Florida, born and raised down there. Got an older brother, Josh, younger sister, Stephanie. And just loved it down there, man. If you haven't been to Tampa, I'd highly recommend it. They've done a lot to the city. It's pretty sweet right now. Great weather. Maybe a little hot and muggy now. I suggest like January through like March is absolutely perfect. But went to play in high school, and kind of everyone thought I was going to be a Gator. I think I grew up going to a lot of Gators games. It's only an hour and 30 minutes away from my house. My uncle's a Bull Gator, so big-time donor to the University of Florida. We get some sweet tickets. And, I grew up a fan. And I remember, I think it was my junior year, I was also a fan of Colt Brennan, RIP. And I'd been to a couple camps where he's been a counselor, really got to know him pretty well. I was like, man, this dude's a pretty sweet guy. And I was watching the Sugar Bowl. And I was like, dang, man, let's go Hawaii. And then Georgia showed up in their black unis and absolutely dominated the game. I was like, damn, maybe I should consider possibly leaving the state of Florida. So I took a trip up to Athens, fell in love with the campus, great facilities. They were going to be redoing their facilities, so I knew I was going to get an upgrade there. And the coaching staff between Coach Rick and Coach Bobo was just awesome. 2 guys that know the position, coached it, played it. Bobo played in the SEC at Georgia, so that meant a lot to me. And it was a pretty good quarterback situation I'd be going into with Stafford leaving. Not a lot of quarterbacks on the roster. It was Joe Cox, Logan Gray. Joe had 1 year left. Logan, and then Met and myself would be coming in.
Yeah.
And, I remember I went to Florida for a visit, and I'm sitting in on a quarterback meeting, and it's Tebow, it's Brantley, it's Cam Newton. And they're all big dudes. I'm not the biggest guy in the world. And I was like, I don't know if I'm big enough to be a quarterback, especially in that offense with the zone read, to be running that kind of stuff. I thought the pro-style offense was a little bit more my speed. So committed to Georgia and had a great career. Loved every minute of it. Went on to play 3 years in the NFL, 2 years with Kansas City, 1 with the Philadelphia Eagles. Played in the AAF and XFL. The only person I think that had the ability to do both and in both leagues, people tell me. So I had a great time with both those teams, and I thought especially the XFL was pretty awesome. And now I'm going on my 5th season working for CBS and SiriusXM. And then, like you said at the beginning, I do my podcast with you, and then you and I do a couple other shows as well. So make sure you check us out, Punt and Pass, for your weekly get your mind right kind of talk, getting ready for football games.
That's right. I mean, look, you're an absolute stud. You just rattled off what you've done in your 30 years on this earth already. It's unbelievable how much you've accomplished and how much you still continue to do in the world of college football today. I know everybody's a huge fan of you. A lot of people thought you were going to go to Florida. You did take a visit to Georgia. Who hosted you on your visit to Georgia? Because
I believe it's the a former All-American punter who really showed me what Athens is all about.
right, you came on.
It's hard not to commit when a guy like Drew, who knows his way around Bourbon Street and some of the other bars, takes you downtown Athens and have a little fun.
That was fun. And then, of course, you came and just had an absolutely stellar career. So kind of changing the topic towards Icon Source. Obviously, we're on Inside Source Live. It's our podcast here at Icon Source. I get asked questions a lot. Like you just said, yes, I played football. I was the punter. Yes, I did go and play in the NFL. People always ask me, what would your opportunities have been like if you could have gotten compensated for name, image, and likeness? And I usually say this, Aaron. I go, look, would I have had some opportunity? Yes. But my boy, Aaron Murray, would have had massive opportunity. And you really would have. I mean, you were in Athens for 5 years. You started for 4 of them. The records you have now are going to be really hard to be broken in the future. But the amount of success you had, how positive of a figure you were in Athens, and how many people just really enjoyed watching you and rooting you on would have created your personal brand to an extremely high level. I mean, you're talking about, people always look at Trevor Lawrence last year. People look at a guy like JT Daniels, who's going to have a lot of potential this year. Tell me your overall thoughts. Is this long overdue? Do you support the student athletes being able to be compensated for their name, image, and likeness? Are you worried about some of the negative things that people seem to talk about always when they're discussing NIL compensation for student athletes?
No, and I love the way that it's going about, where you're able to go make money on your own. You know, I think the discussion in years back has been, okay, is the school going to pay these kids a certain amount of money? I was like, man, that's going to get too crazy, trying to figure out different sports and how much, football gets to baseball to basketball, women to men, too much. The fact that it's just you and what do you bring to the table, and can I go out there and make money off my name, image, and likeness? I'm all for that. I think you brought up some of the negative talk around it right now. A lot of it has to do with the fact that, is it fair to everyone? Is it going to be just the 1 or 2% guys on the team that are going to be making money and doing deals? And, I think it's going to be more along those lines of your star quarterback, running back, receiver, maybe a couple guys on defense that are big names that are going to be really broken off and be making, some pretty good cash. And those other guys, it will trickle down. Some of those guys with smaller deals, but obviously not to the same level. But that's the way it is in the NFL too. You have to understand, most of the guys making all the deals and the guys that are on all the commercials, who are they? Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes. You see those guys 24/7 on all the State Farm commercials. You don't see a lot of offensive and defensive linemen. You don't. Maybe they got a local car dealership that they work with, and that's how they kind of generate some revenue on the side. But that's just the way it is, and guys have to understand that. So I think that's the one area that maybe there'll be some jealousy along the way. But I guarantee you, if I was playing and I got a deal for whatever X amount of money, my offensive line would have been like, hey, where did you get a nice deal? Where did you get that check? Yeah. Dinner's on you tonight. We're going to Longhorn. So, everyone's going to find a way to get their hand in the jar at the end of the day. So I'm not too worried about that. I'm not worried about guys being extremely jealous. It comes with the territory. Guys understand the quarterbacks are going to get the attention, the positive and negative. And then most likely at the end of the day, they're going to get some of these deals as well. So being a former quarterback, I'm all for it. I'm jealous. Like you said, I think I would have got some pretty sweet dough when I was playing.
You really would have. No
came question. Out. It would have been nice. Drinks at the bar would definitely been on me for all 4 years. I do worry with kids, and this comes along with education. My biggest worry with just the kids overall is, one, understanding how to take care and manage your money. Yeah. You give an 18-year-old kid and he gets a $5,000, $10,000 deal. You can't just go blow it on J's and a new, down payment on a car and take everyone out to go eat dinner, and then, come along, January, February, March, April, and it's like, hey, I got to pay taxes on this. Well, I spent it all. What do you mean I got to pay? I was supposed to save 50% of it. So education is going to be the biggest thing for these kids. Of how, what is my net worth? What am I really worth when it comes to my name, image, and likeness? What can I go get out in the marketplace? And then how can I take care of my money to have fun, obviously, because we all work to be able to have fun, to enjoy myself, to take buddies and girls out to dinner or whatever it may be, but also to save for the future as well, and be able to have some kind of small little something that when you leave the University of Georgia, wherever it is, you got some pocket, whether you make it to the NFL or not make it to the NFL. So that's a big worry for the players. And one more, as I was talking about too, and I talked to my boy Christian Robinson, former linebacker at Georgia and coach at the University of Florida now, because we were discussing it a lot this past weekend.
Yeah.
About guys just making sure they're focused and guys understanding at the end of the day, it's great to get some money in your pocket. Awesome. But your job is to be a student athlete first. Your job is still to go to school. Your job is to go to practice, the weight room, and get ready for the season and go out there and perform on the field. So got to make sure it does not distract you enough that it's hindering your ability to go out there and make plays on Saturdays.
Yeah, you bring up a fantastic point. I mean, education is so important. And in a lot of the legislation that's been proposed at the state levels and some of the proposals at the federal level state that the universities must provide that education for their student athletes. So they're going out and they're contracting these education and consulting groups, these brand building and marketing groups, these disclosure and monitoring groups to make sure that the student athletes understand the rules and regulations, the do's and don'ts, the changes of what they will be able to do and what they should be able to shy away from. So they are essentially going to be drinking out of a fire hose when they get back on campus this week or the next for summer workouts, or in the fall if they're not a fall sports team, of learning about this entire new industry. So yes, education, huge. Where Icon Source comes in is that we want those student athletes to be educated and come to our platform and then use that education to engage with brands, to have that efficient and effective platform to facilitate endorsement opportunities, to actually capitalize on their name, image, and likeness. Because Aaron, I've talked to you about it. You've used Icon Source. You have a profile. You've gotten deals on it. You can speak authentically to it. The rule change is this. The rule change is that student athletes are now able to be compensated for their name, image, and likeness. The rule change is not that student athletes can be educated on how to be compensated. So we understand that the universities are providing as much as they possibly can, but the hardest thing, actually getting the deals, getting paid, has to be done separate of the university. That's where we come in. We work separate of the university. We will show them all that deal information. We will be an extremely transparent and secure platform so that compliance is our best friend. Because why? Well, we don't owe them any money. They don't owe us any money. We're providing that safe place for the student athlete to engage with brands. And we're really taking down the walls because brands reach out to us and they say, well, how do I do this? I'm worried. I don't want to get the student athlete in trouble. We have that safe place for them to do it. We're really excited. We're getting tons of great response from student athletes right now, from brands, and from universities. Aaron, if you had this in college, if you had Icon Source, you use it, you have a profile, do you think you might have stayed in Florida, right? Do you think that some people would have said, Aaron, you have such amazing brand awareness in this state. You know, if a plant star goes up to Gainesville and has success, man, you could be talking about making tons and tons of dough. Or would you have gone to Georgia regardless?
Well, the good thing about University of Georgia is you got Atlanta right down the street and all the Fortune 500 companies. So I think to me, when I would look at it, and obviously staying in the state of Florida, I already got connections in Tampa, you know, and obviously Gainesville is a great town when it comes to football and the love for football. It would have been, I would say it would have been equal. You know, obviously it would have been a little bit more home stuff there in Tampa for me to dabble my hands into. But like I said, the fact that Atlanta is an hour and a half away from Athens or less, you know, the quick trip right down 316 and all the companies that are in Atlanta, plus all the love in Athens for the Dogs, I think I actually probably would have made more money being the starting quarterback for Georgia than if I would have stayed in the state of Florida. So that's for every kid to decide and see what the best opportunity is for them when it comes to name, image, and likeness. But going back to your point about the app, Drew, and yes, I've used it for, I think I've done 4 deals on it now. And I think the greatest thing about it is just, it's so simple. I mean, you get in there, the contract set up, company's able to go in there, plug in whatever, it's the money, the time, the date, you approve it, you sign it, done deal, it's ready to go. It's super clean, it's not messy, and that's something too, going back to just my discussions with C-Rod this past weekend about ways to make this seamless for players.
Yeah.
This is perfect. Every kid is attached to their phone.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you set a notification up that, hey, so-and-so wants you to do an appearance, restaurant wants you to do an appearance on Saturday. It is in the spring, Saturday from 1 to 3, and they'll pay you X amount of money plus a free lunch. You look at it, you like it, you sign it, boom, done deal, goes to compliance. I just think it's so seamless for the players. It's seamless for compliance, being able to make sure that everything is done properly and above table. That way no one's getting in trouble at the end of the day and no one's doing anything that they shouldn't be doing. So if I was in school, 100% Icon Source, like I said, just the me using it for the past few weeks, how simple and easy it is just to get a ding on my phone, click it, look through it, sign it if I like it, and it's off to the races from there. So it makes life easier, especially for these kids, because I like I said earlier in the day, they're still student athletes. They still got to go to class, full workload, practice, film study, workouts, games, whatever else it is in their lives, just to be able to get a quick notification on your phone, and you don't have to go out there hunting deals, is going to make their life a lot easier when it comes to taking advantage of this new rule.
Yeah, and you can pick and choose whatever you want to do, right? You're not locked in anything, and you can negotiate. You can say, hey, this doesn't really fit what I'm looking to do over the next 6 months or my personal brand. Brands can now build those opportunities, send them to you, have the authentic communication with the student athlete while compliance sees it. And then when it's done, like you just said, Aaron, all of it gets sent to compliance so the student athlete doesn't have to manually input disclosure information. To your point, practice, film sessions, games, tutoring, study hall. They got so much to do, and regular college life. They don't want to have to do that stuff. So this will be a great app for them to go out there and have opportunities come to them. It'll be awesome for brands to utilize it as well. And you said Christian Robinson, linebackers coach at the University of Florida, your buddy, you guys were on a trip this past weekend to the beach. He said you can't let the kids get distracted. I think one of the things that's most important, and you would say this with all your experience now, is what, Aaron? Well, if you don't do well in the classroom, then you won't be eligible. So if you're not eligible, you can't play. If you don't do well during practice and you don't get into the starting lineup and you don't play much, those aren't going to help you get NIL opportunities, right? So we think that this is a rising tide that lifts all ships. Kids might be more incentivized to do well in the classroom, to focus more on their athletics, to get the opportunity to shine, to build their brand around name, image, and likeness. Aaron, we love Georgia football. We keep it real throughout the season. There's no doubt about it. There was some huge news yesterday out of Athens, and based on the talent that's on Georgia's roster, I don't know if these 2 5-stars, Eric Gilbert and is it Hamilton? What's the DB's last name?
Oh, I'm drawing a blank right now too.
The kid from Clemson. They might have found out that Icon Source is rocking and rolling, and they want to come to Georgia and make a little dough for their NIL. We'll have that great opportunity for them. But something is going on. Georgia is totally stacked. These kids, I'm telling you right now, if they blow out Clemson in week 1, which is a stretch, they're going to have a ton of opportunity. Is Kirby running out of excuses? I mean, the cupboard is full. It is time to take advantage right now. What are your thoughts?
Oh, 100%.
Darian Kendrick. Thank you, TK Bryce. Darian Kendrick.
Especially, just being in the East this year, Florida's going to be a little bit somewhat of a down year for the University of Florida Gators. You lose your quarterback, a bunch of receivers, the best player in the draft, I thought, in Kyle Pitts, who's now with the Falcons. The rest of the East is just it's rebuilding. Tennessee's rebuilding. Vanderbilt obviously is going to forever be rebuilding. South Carolina is rebuilding. Missouri will be better because of their quarterback. Love their quarterback and what he's able to do, but obviously not the same kind of talent that University of Georgia has. So the East should be locked up. Interested to see what Alabama looks like. I do like their young quarterback. I think he has potential, but once again, every single year, can they do it? They've shown that they can. So it's hard to doubt those guys of getting back to whether it's the SEC championship game to the playoffs. When Nick's the head coach, you got to make those guys a favorite. I do think LSU is going to be better because of the quarterback position, because of what they have back on that football team. A&M will take a little bit of a drop, depending on how, the quarterback position shakes up with Kellen gone to the NFL. Defensively, they'll be great. Ole Miss, Mississippi State, I think will both take steps forward because of just their offenses and the QBs in second year with those coaches. But overall, to me, it's Alabama and Georgia. And I think Georgia obviously has the easier road in the East to make it to the SEC championship game. So I wouldn't say that, hey, we have to win a championship this year or it's a bust. But I do think expectations are, hey, get to Atlanta, get a chance at either LSU or Alabama, I'm thinking. You win that, and then we go from there. Oklahoma's going to be a great team. Clemson week 1 is going to be a tremendous challenge. We'll really get to see what we look like there in that first game. But definitely top 4, top 5 team. I think top 4 team heading into the season.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be absolutely unbelievable. Shout out Chris Childers with a great comment. Drew Butler is handsome. Yes, I am. Thank you, Chris. My man. He is your co-host on SiriusXM. You guys have an awesome daily show during
Our,
the
our
fall.
boy Taylor with the Are You the Bachelor guy? Unbelievable.
Well, no, he's happily married, TC, as you know. He's got Maddox at home. Maybe Maddox will start getting some golf lessons here from you soon up there in Oconee. But, I was on an interview, and we'll wrap this thing up. I was on an interview a couple weeks ago, and somebody was asking about Kirby Smart in Georgia, okay, and about the expectations. This is before yesterday's awesome news of getting those 2 5-star transfers. And they were saying, is Georgia or is the fan base, Bulldog Nation, getting restless, like kind of alluding to the fact of, does Kirby need to win now, or are people going to be wanting another coach? And I said, I'm not, because there's only one thing there's left to do for Kirby Smart. Like there's one thing left to do. And what is that, Aaron?
Win a championship.
Well, beat Alabama.
Beat Alabama.
Gotta beat Alabama.
That's the big monkey. If you beat Alabama, there's a good chance you're going to win a championship. So it goes hand in hand. Yeah.
That's it. There's one giant left to slay. They thought they did it a couple years ago. Aaron, I thought you did it back in 2012. We won't go there. I love you too much. I'm not going to bring up those memories. But, man, this has been an absolute blast. I am fired up for college football season. July 1st is less than 30 days away. Student-athletes in the state of Georgia, Florida, Alabama, Mississippi, New Mexico will be able to be compensated for their name, image, and likeness. You just heard Aaron Murray say it. He uses the app. He's done it. It secures the payment. It's disclosure, transparent for universities. It's seamless. It's effective. Anything on the way out, my man? This has been a fascinating conversation. I always turn to you for advice on college football. You're a super sharp dude. You're handsome. You got a great family. I can brag about you all day long. Last thoughts, my man.
Just like I said earlier, man, I'm just jealous, and I think you brought up when we started this conversation. I'm jealous that we didn't have it when I played. And the name, image, and like this wasn't allowed for us to go out there and make some money. And I got hurt on it a couple of times. I mean, we go back to my freshman year. AJ Green gets to spend the first 4 games of the season. It would have been pretty sweet to have AJ Green as my starting receiver for the first 4 games of the season. It may have changed the outcome of that season back in 2010 if we had the best player in college football. So it would have helped me in that. It would have also obviously helped me with making deals on the side as well. So a little jealous, but happy for these kids that they're going to be able to go out there and making some money on their name, image, and likeness. And once again, man, the app is seamless. It's easy. And it's just, it's a no-brainer to me. Why wouldn't you want something on your phone that get a notification, click it, check the contract out, sign it, done deal. And these companies are searching for you. It makes your life so much easier downloading that Icon app source.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Well, hey, everybody go follow Aaron Murray at Aaron Murray 11. Check him out on CBS Sports this fall. Obviously, we'll have our podcast popping back this fall at Punt and Pass. He's on SiriusXM Radio as well. Aaron, thanks so much, man. Go Dogs. Have a great rest of the week and keep working on that golf game, brother.
I will. See you, boys.
All right. See you guys.
Thanks for listening to The Inside Source. Every week, hear what brands, agents, and athletes have to say about sports marketing. If you would like to reach me directly, you can email me, chase@iconsource.com. Have a great day.